God, can you move? But biggest Fright ever, but it's a big disappointment, sadly. Let me just show you something about the massive beastliness of. So this is the oil tank right here, right? Well, look at this. This down here is the whole motor pump. If you look back here, see how beefy that motor is. That motor is absolutely gargantuan. For an MEI hydraulic Fright elevator, this thing's a beast. If you come out, what are you doing? Look at this. It's the biggest motor I've ever seen. What are you doing? Thing's impressive. That's just the emergency power supply. So it supplies it with power for it to go. Yeah, then it just allows it to be able to open and close it. You see how the motor on this thing is? Can I tell you how big the motor on this thing is? The motor on this thing is about the size of 3 of these buckets.
What's this key go to here?
That's the door key. I took it. There's some way to override the key code reader. Toggle down key reader. Impressive. Not the biggest controller, but that is a monster of a machine. This whole piece right here is the oil tank. Then this down here is the actual motor and pump assembly.
What's this big boy up here?
That's the oil cooler.
And what's this over here?
That's the oil filter for the oil cooler. That's the motor that pumps the oil into the oil cooler. And this bad boy over here is the beast. Yeah, that thing's just massive.
So what does it mean when it says dry power?
Dry power means that the motor is not submerged in the oil tank. So if the motor being submerged in the oil tank, it's outside of the oil tank. So look, let me show you. Let me explain. So last two you can just sit there. So for the last two machineries last 3 technically, they were all submersible. That means that the motor and pump is submerged in the oil. But for dry powered motor and pump there's an oil tank on top, and then the motor pump is just in a dry, different part underneath the actual oil tank, allowing for you to put a way bigger motor. This thing has to be a couple hundred horsepower, you know?
What's this thing?
That's the emergency phone. That's an old one. I wonder how many horsepower is the motor, this big motor. I really want to know. It works at 400 psi, 75 horsepower. That's water. That's water from somewhere, I don't know. There's plumbing like above us. Yeah. Wow. Fright elevator R5? How many Fright elevators even is there here? Wow, this thing's a beast. Well, anyways, that is it for this amazing machine room.